getting ready to seize your first opportunity to come into the ring and start grandstanding and hot dogging, yeah!
I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
When we speak, our voices are heard. We all say, I bring it.
Welcome to Malice Smack Talk, the podcast that supports the man and the only man, Becky Lynch. Thank you very much.
I am the man.
I am your host, Masonic Vader. Welcome to the show. With me, as always, we have Mind Freak.
I can already tell that this show is going to be fun. I mean, there's already the Smack Talk started in the pre-show, guys. Wish you guys could hear it. It might feature on the best of. You don't know, but we're here. Let's kick some ass and take some names.
Yes,
Dynamite
since
dropping.
day one-ish,
Dynamite
right?
Dropping.
Day one-ish.
Yes. And then, of course, we've got the brains of the operation, Bearded Master. How you doing, sir?
And like Chris Jericho says, we're all in with All Elite Wrestling. Let's get this rolling.
Nice.
Even though he shaved his beard, it still looks magnificent. Just saying. I'm talking to you, Marty.
It's the mustache. It brings the dapperness out. Yes.
Is that the manager of Moustache Mountain we have on here now?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Maybe I was going a little bit more towards that Simon Gotch look. You know what I'm saying? Not really.
Nah. Maybe no. He's going more of the revival look. You see?
Oh damn, the muffin top.
I went there.
So if you watch the podcast on a regular basis, someone was absent last week, and apparently he needs to let it all out. I think maybe we should let 5 minutes go at the beginning just so he could blow his load or something. I don't know.
Which basically, if we give him 5 minutes, it's going to be 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Well, you see, and then 15 seconds of content. So if you want to waste 4.45, that's up to you, man.
Let me take 15 of those. Let me take the 15 seconds, scratched 5 of those out because 5 of them is going to be, exactly what Marty and Ken said. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that goes
I
all
agree with
the
you
way
guys.
around. It's not okay. Right. I mean, you know, we all have similar thoughts on things because we're all wrestling fans. I mean, that's why I hate having to trail after you guys because when I say something first, you're like, yeah, exactly what Mind Freak said. Let me piggyback and just elaborate, on my thoughts on it. So,
Mind Freak, you want to know something?
What?
It doesn't matter what your opinions are.
Man.
Hey guys.
I apologize.
Don't apologize, man.
All right, welcome to Malice.
Are we going to be talking about AEW or are we going to be talking ADD wrestling? I don't know what it is.
Well, apparently we're both on ADD. Let's go, man. Let's get this thing moving. Welcome to Malice Smack Talk. First of all, before we get started, let's make sure we thank our sponsors, Malice Corp. They are the sponsors of this site. They allow us to do our thing. Check out the website, Malice-Corp. Phenomenal site. Lots of different podcasts outside of ours. There's the main cast, which is every Friday night at 8 p.m. It's the All Nerd podcast. Sometimes you'll see me on there. Sometimes you'll see other guys on there. 8 p.m. Twitch. Check them out. And, of course, you got Comics for All, Nerd Mosh Pit. You can even go back and look at last year's domination from Big Papa Matt and Beacon, who actually ran the gauntlet and watched 100 movies. Both of them did last year in the theaters. And they have them all on video there. So check it out. It's a great site. Have fun. Do your thing. We're here to talk wrestling, though, and it's time to jump into this. The first thing we want to jump into is, gosh, man, it seems like lately we've been doing these at least once a month. This has just been nonstop. We unfortunately lost another legend, but this time you're talking about one of the top legends. Mean Gene Okerlund had unfortunately passed away this last week. Me personally, man, I mean, when you talk wrestling, Mean Gene's one of those people you talk about, man. Especially me growing up, because he was always doing the interviews. He was always there. It was Hulk Hogan's buddy. I mean, every time you see something, it was Mean Gene. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. And it's what I grew up on, man. And it's devastating loss because that's a like I said, he's up there. He could be considered one of those entries into. You can't necessarily say Mount Rushmore with wrestling because there's so many key pivotal people, but he is definitely probably in the top 5, if not top 3 of commentators of all time with wrestling. He definitely made his impact. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
I mean, to go with what you're saying, I mean, I don't know about Mount Rushmore of commentators because when you look at that, obviously, you got JR, you got Gorilla Monsoon, Vince McMahon was amazing on the mic when he was younger. But when it comes down to it, when you talk Gene Okerlund, you don't talk a Mount Rushmore. You talk a peak and the tip of the mountain. Because when it comes down to him, when it came to a mic backstage, in ring, whatever it may be, there's not a single person that comes as close to him as it comes. I mean, we go look at even late 90s, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression. We had those guys who not only were on the mic, but did, involvements in wrestling. You got Michael Cole. You had Coachman. But Mean Gene was on a whole new level. He's one of those guys who sits in that throne, and everybody else is barely trying to climb the mountain. When it came down to it, you enjoyed his moments on the mic. You were always looking forward to what he was going to say and what he was going to see. It didn't matter if it was Hogan, if it was Warrior, Macho Man, Ric Flair. You knew you were going to get something amazing, whether it would be video clips from AWA, WCW, WWE. Either time he was there, Gene Okerlund is a legend. When you talk wrestling, he is absolutely one of the guys that's always going to be mentioned and will always be remembered.
Absolute mind freak.
Yeah, no, go along with the same things. Like for me, like growing up, like some of the early days, and like even going in with with the Monday Night Wars and stuff like that. Like anytime, like I was like, oh, we have an interview coming up, or we have backstage stuff coming up. In my head, I just knew it was going to be Mean Gene, and same kind of idea as you have the greats in wrestling. The ones that are out there, the in-ring performers, but even being on the mic as like an interviewer, as an announcer, that was what he did on his own. It was art. Not to take away anything from everybody else, but it was what he did, and it always had you it was always awesome. It was always good, that kind of thing. And again, just another legend gone too quick.
Yeah, and you know what? The thing I think I mentioned this a while back, probably one of our original podcasts and stuff, and I think it might have been in a conversation where we were talking about, say, JR and stuff. When you think wrestling, when you think some of those great moments and those great shows, it's not necessarily the people in the ring or the wrestlers themselves. It's the person announcing it or doing the interview. And like you said, with those interviews in the 80s, it didn't matter if he was with, at the time, WWF, whatever you want to call it, or eventually WCW. Man, I mean, you could think of all these great moments, his interviews with Ric Flair, his cream of the crop interview with Macho Man, interview with Andre the Giant where he takes his hand and puts it on his face. I mean, there's nonstop, the endless interviews with Hulk Hogan. And then he would go, and then he had his nice run with Bobby Heenan. We were talking about this kind of like in pre-show and everything. Mean Gene had that presence to not only command the screen for just an interview, but then he had the personality and actually was able to. There's some of those great moments where he just off the cuffs, like just, hey, like for example, the Sid Vicious, when he's like, oh, I messed up. No, you can't do that. We're going live, pal. I mean, he was just like that. And that's what I really appreciated about Mean Gene. It was just he was just phenomenal in every sense of the word. And he had one match in the ring, and it was with Hulk Hogan, which was hilarious as well. So it's a huge impact. And I guarantee any person you speak to who actually commentates wrestling will sit there and say that he was more than likely the reason why they were, or at least motivation behind commentating, or how they made themselves better transitioning from wrestling or whatever. So it's rough, man. I mean, and like I said, it's at this point, man, where we're doing at least one of these once a month now, where we're starting to lose these living legends. So I really hope that for the ones that we haven't lost and what WWE is doing and everybody else, I hope they understand that these guys are where they're at, and they take care of them, make sure they keep them in mind, and I it just sucks, man. I hate seeing these guys go. I mean, eventually everyone has to, I guess. So. Rest in peace, Mean Gene Okerlund. We will definitely miss you, and all the wrestling fans will definitely, we definitely miss it. We'll be seeing you on WWE Flashback. So, anyways, let's jump into some positive stuff, man. Let's talk about WWE this week really quick. Not a lot going on. We all talked about how the fact that the shows they were okay this week. There was a couple good matches. I like seeing some of the angles and some of the things you do. Seth Rollins starting to get a little aggro and stuff with Triple H and everything, which is awesome. It's good starting to see these pathways. But right now everything's set up for Royal Rumble, and we don't want to get into that conversation. There wasn't anything, unless you guys could think of any matches that were just like, holy crap, let's talk about it.
Not really. I mean, just a quick tidbit on it. Even though we've seen, matches like this many times before, the Bar and the Usos. I mean, anytime the Usos or the Bar, or like the Usos are involved in a match, especially with a team like the Bar or like the New Day, it's going to be a top quality match and a top tier match. And you know what? It delivered. I thought, and I know what you're thinking.
Let it out, Marty. Let it out,
Go ahead.
Master.
I set you up for it. I set you up for this. You should be happy that I'm back.
There was only one damn good thing that came of that match. The greatest gift and creation from God, Mandy Rose. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how much crap they're talking, how much they're against this storyline. It's a damn storyline.
It is.
And I freaking love it. Here's the best part. One, we're getting quality content. Yes, we are. From Mandy Rose. But not only are we getting a legit storyline for Naomi to be part of, but here's what I see. We have this thing going on with them, and the one that's being elevated quietly that no one's even realizing it, but it is Sonya Deville. Mm-hmm. And we've been talking about this in the past, and I've been mentioning it all year long. She is going to be a breakout star this year. Mm-hmm. And once they know what they have with both of them, her and with Mandy Rose. And the fact that they are giving Sonya the rub without even her being involved really directly in that storyline is what's great about the storyline. We have 3 female superstars who are all rising up to a new level with this Attitude Era-esque storyline, and it's amazing. I mean, just golden shorts. Hey, if there's a moment, Jimmy, if you're listening, bro, back off, and I'll take your place. Save your marriage. I'll sacrifice myself. I'll sacrifice as tribute. It is.
Oh my gosh, man! You're willing to throw yourself on the sword. That's seriously single tier right here, man. Single tier. That's it.
Rust that blade up. Rust that blade up, and I'll dive on it.
Wow. Yes. And I think we talked about this a while back. WWE has I want to sit there and say has started going back to what made him good in the 90s, where they kind of let the reins go a little bit. We talked about this, and they had mentioned that they're going to try to take away. I think they're trying to skirt up the PG-13, even though they're on TV-14 already, but I think they're really starting to push the limits in one way or another. They're trying to get it. They're trying to bring something back. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah.
They want to give us that M. They want to give us that M.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to work though. Right now, I mean, it's good. Definitely seeing the talent coming through, but
I know we've talked about it too. It's like with some of these storylines, they're getting personal. I mean, look at AJ and Samoa Joe. Look at Jeff Hardy and Samoa Joe. Now look at Mandy with Naomi and Jimmy. Like, look, they're personalizing some of these storylines, and they're great. What?
Yeah. No. Wait.
I said Jimmy.
That's what I said.
I know. You said Jay.
No, I said
you
Jimmy.
did say Jay.
No, you said Jay.
I mean, I know they're twins, bro. I know they're twins, but you're wearing their shirt.
I was going to say you're down since day one-ish, huh? You can't even tell the twins apart, huh? All right, there you go. Damn. I think you need to take that shirt off, sir.
I'm on my fifth Steve Weiser here, okay?
Okay, all right, I'll give him that one. If it's on number
Welcome
5,
to the
that's all right. So, so being, oh boy, here we go, man. All right, so being with the NXT or WWE, the other thing going on this week is they announced on NXT UK that this weekend, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is what is that, 11 o'clock on the West Coast, they're actually having their first NXT takeover. It's Blackpool, where they originated from, and they've got 5 matches on there, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Bearded Master?
They do 5 matches, and 3 of them are going to be barn burners.
Absolutely. And it looks like the headlining one is actually the women's championship, which I'm excited about to see. Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm.
That's why.
Sign me up.
Me too.
Sign me up.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a great match. It's a little interesting to see what they're doing with Toni Storm right now. It almost seems like she's with WWE, but she's not with WWE. It seems like she's trying to fill out or finish up a lot of contracts, and they haven't been able to get her full time yet. Am I seeing this wrong? No. She's full blown. She's full blown WWE. Okay. So it's gonna be good, man. They need to definitely give her the push. I mean, Rhea Ripley is also she made a big impact on the and the Mae Young Classic too and everything. Hence the reason why she's champ right now. She's actually quite deceiving as far as she's big, but she's also very fast. Really good wrestler. It was really cool to see that they gave her she earned that championship to start off with. Not giving it to Toni Storm. So this is going to be an awesome match. I'm looking forward to it. Can you run off the rest of the matches, because they're off the top of my tongue right now?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a singles match between Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin, a no DQ match with Dave Mastiff and Eddie Dennis, and those are probably going to be the 2 matches just to fill the card out. But your next 3 matches, you have Pete Dunne and Joe Coffey.
Hell yeah!
I know I've talked about Coffey in the past because Coffey is a beast. He can easily be that that guy is he's a beast, yeah. But here's the thing. Pete Dunne today hits day 600 of his title reign.
Yeah, he is the longest running right now. Yeah.
Holy hell. So that match is going to be fantastic. I have a feeling that they can go either way with this, because they can get a lot of people with a surprise or the expected he's had it for 600 plus days. It's time to get it off him. They're going to give it to Joe Coffey. And then at the same time, him retaining is almost like a surprise. Like, he said it for 600 days and he still has the belt. Like, that's just crazy. Mm-hmm. Then we have the inaugural NXT championship, or NXT Tag Team Championship.
UK.
And that's going to be Moustache Mountain, which we've talked about already. With Trent Steven and Tyler Bates.
Yes, right there.
And then,
yes.
Yep. And then the Grizzled young veterans, Zack Gibson and James Drake. This is the inaugural NXT Tag Team UK Championship. And the fact that Tyler Bates is going up for this after he was already the inaugural NXT UK champion.
Yep.
I mean, he's basically become Charlotte of the UK. I mean, he just.
You know what though, in watching him wrestle, man, he is actually quite entertaining to watch. I love. He's incredibly strong. Good mat game. I love the freaking get hit in the bop in the pop. What was it? Dang it, right and left. What do you call him again? Puts a hand up and he bops him with the left. I can't think of it off the top of his head. He uses that all the time, and he's quite entertaining watching the matches and everything. Like, the matches I've seen of his are really good. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning. Moustache Mountain is extremely popular in the UK. I've seen at least 5 or 10, between 5 and 10 of their matches since they've been in NXT/NXT UK, and they are a good combination. As much as you don't see that, because you got Tyler Banks, who's 20 years old, youngest UK champion, and then you've got his partner, who just looks like he needs to retire at this point. It's like Ric Flair in his older years, he's just like, he's hanging on. He's still giving quality matches, which is awesome. So it's exciting. It's good to see that the UK brand has their first takeover coming around, because obviously with this new year coming around, WWE is going to be pushing for hopefully more TV, more content on WWE as far as matches and everything. So,
and I know we brought it up before, but the UK fans, man, that's one of the things I'm excited about when watching Blackpool, is just to see the fans and how crazy they go. Because I know we talked about it many times, so it'll be interesting to see, especially whether it's their first, like big event like this for their own brand. Expect the energy of the fans to be there.
Absolutely. Bearder, were you going to throw something in at the end there?
Nope. I agree with what Mind Freak said right there.
Oh, you're pulling the Mind Freak. All right.
It suits him well. It suits him very well.
So that's about it with WWE right now, unless I missed it. Yeah, there you go. You got to say something when you're drinking, though, man, because they don't see the cup.
You suck. You suck. You suck. Bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum. You suck. There we go.
Damn.
It's almost like a hold up. Dance break.
Oh, was it a dance break, really?
Actually, about the dance right there.
Yeah, and we're moving on. We're moving on.
Let's go on.
We don't want to lose any more viewers, so let's move on.
It's kind of hard when you have Mind Freak on the show.
That's true. Good point. Yeah.
I just do want to point out, the fact that we did do a live show on Twitch when Marty wasn't here, and we actually had more viewers in the entire show than we was with here.
Which is quite interesting, because the one person seemed like your biggest contributor on Twitch that day was in fact me. So I don't know. Seems like when I do a Twitch show, we have more interaction with the guest. But hey, it is what it is.
And we're moving on to WWE's next thing that they've thrown in this week. Good segue. They're actually adding something to Royal Rumble weekend to the Access show. It's called When Worlds Collide. I personally am very excited about this because I'm a big fan of the what I call the WWE channel shows, which are your NXT UK, and your 205 Live. They are going to be doing a When Worlds Collide part of the Access show, which it looks like they're going to be bringing all the superstars, or majority of them, from the three brands. Small amount, okay, but still, it's still cool to see some interact, because I want to see some good dream matches that you can get out of those. So I know they've taken somebody off. Yeah, go for it.
So if you haven't, did you in case you haven't, those of you who haven't looked at the roster, kind of what they put together for this, we have 5 people from each roster. 205 Live, and these are some big names that are actually being represented. So it's not like they're going to grab just some a couple guys just to fill the roster. They got big names. TJP, Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, Humberto Carrillo, Cedric Alexander. I mean, you take away with the exception of a few big names, those are pretty much 4 of the biggest names for the 205 roster right there.
Yep.
Well, they're missing Lucha House Party.
No, they're not on 205 no more. They're on the Raw roster, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They're Lumberjacks now. They're Lumberjacks. NXT UK coming off of this weekend. Mark Andrews, Tyler Bate, Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, Zack Gibson. And then when it comes to NXT, holy hell. Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Dominic Dijakovic, Keith Lee, Otis Dozovic. I mean, you got Keith Lee, but probably because they're trying to hold off and they don't want to use up Ciampa and Gargano and Ricochet. They want to give matches that people are going to want to tune into, but not matches that are going to essentially, so to speak, blow their load for TakeOver the week after. No, because you got TakeOver the same night.
Yeah, it's Access. No, it's Royal Rumble. It's Royal Rumble weekend. It is TakeOver.
TakeOver the night before.
Yeah,
So,
interesting especially because Otis and Heavy Machinery are slated as one of those groups that are going to be moving up to the main roster. So it's interesting that
not
they're
only
pulling
that,
them in.
but Adam Cole. I mean, you think he'd be that's telling you right there, unless something else happens. Because I haven't seen what the takeover roster is going to look like. But that means
they did say last week that Ricochet is going to be
Gargano.
Ricochet and Gargano, which is going to be a freaking epic match.
That is.
Nothing with Tommaso Ciampa. Oh wait, no, Tommaso Ciampa is going to take on
Black,
more
right?
likely, Aleister Black. So you got your two big matches there, and then Shayna Baszler is going to be taking on who is it she fought this weekend? EST, Bianca Belair. So there's your three title matches earlier for those. Those are going to be your headline matches. And actually, Bianca Belair match, I'm excited to see, man. I said it about a couple months ago. I think she's the only one pound for pound that can match strength with Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, there's something. I don't get the whole hair thing. Her move with that. It's whatever. But there's just something about her and her talent and her force.
Yeah,
that's just very reminiscent of Jacqueline.
Yes.
I'm not talking like later Jacqueline. I'm talking like ruthless, just gritty attitude era when she'd go up against Sable or go up against China and just beat them. And I feel like Belair has that same kind of technique. And I'm interested in seeing. I mean, here's the thing: how many times we talk about Baszler putting on a bad match?
Yeah,
we don't talk about it. So this is gonna be a big match. Personally, I think this might be her last match, and we'll get into this later. I know, but I think we're gonna see Baszler at the Royal Rumble. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We'll definitely talk about these coming up in a couple weeks. Absolutely. I will say though, if you haven't watched the NXT match from this last week, her and Nikki Cross, good God, man, that was a good match. And at the end, to see her Bianca Belair bring Nikki Cross up in her finishing move, man, that woman has unbelievable strength. I'm not saying, I mean, Nikki Cross is a solid woman. She's an easy 145, but there's a lot of leg going on there. She's really good shape muscular wise. And man, Bianca Belair had no issue just lifting her up and doing the finishing move, man. It's gonna be an awesome match. So but yeah, so going back to When Worlds Collide, they've got big names going on this. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know the gist of everything yet because they just announced it. Is it going to be like a 5-on-5 tag team, like a tornado tag team match?
No, I would imagine. I would imagine there'd be a few different matches.
Wait, hold on a sec. I did remember something. I think they said something about how something goes for about 15 minutes. It's like a Royal Rumble kind of thing.
Tournament. No, it's a tournament. It's a tournament format. So there, as of right now, there's no name of who's fighting who.
Who are some of the other names?
So the winner of this tournament is actually going to be given a opportunity at whatever championship they want. So basically, it's a Royal Rumble-esque champion, or it's King of the Ring for the minor leagues.
Yeah.
But with a title stipulation. Obviously, King of the Ring, as great as it was, I love the King of the Ring. I know people play tournaments. I know, I always loved King of the Ring. I think obviously the last real big one was when Booker T won it, and the time just went down the hill after that. I know they did one a couple of years. They've done a couple since then, but they were kind of like, oh, we had a King of the Ring match this week. We're gonna have another one next week. I was all for the King of the Ring's tournament match. So that's kind of what it seems like. It seems like there's gonna be a tournament between the 15 guys. With a title stipulation at the end for the winner. And that's pretty damn cool. Looks like it's about a 4-hour event. So who knows what can happen?
Good God, man. WWE is starting to really pick up. Like we talked about, 2019 is going to be a big year for them. I think this is the beginning of them starting to expand their channel rosters.
Oh, they kind of have to with the.
And this tournament. This tournament's a 2-day event, so it starts on Saturday and ends on Sunday. So basically, it's going to lead into Takeover, and then it's going to end before the Royal Rumble kind of thing.
Nice. Cool. So we will be chatting more about that in weeks to come. We'll be doing our pre-show setup for that. I think we might actually have to do either a couple of those or something because it sounds like there's a lot going on Royal Rumble weekend. So that'll be a big show for us. So WWE, as far as show wise, all right, but they're setting up Royal Rumble pretty good. I mean, you definitely tell it is how WWE likes to announce it. This is the beginning of WrestleMania season, and they're already jumping.
The one thing I will say is I hope that and obviously this is precursor because we're gonna have. I really hope that they don't announce the entire Royal Rumble roster beforehand. You know, back when the Royal Rumble was the greatest thing ever, it was when you had surprises. It was when you had some contenderships to get in the Rumble, but you didn't know 2/3 of who was going to be in that Rumble, which made the surprises that much better. We're at the point now, the last couple of years, where they announced like 25 rosters, and it's like, okay, so we're going to have 5 people that we don't know of. Maybe one of them is going to be a surprise. The excitement really isn't there as much as it should be. And the Royal Rumble was always about who's going to show up at the Royal Rumble. Given this year has a pretty damn big name out there, with people watching closely to see if he shows up. But it's like, I mean, they could announce 29 roster members are that coming into the Royal Rumble and leave that one spot unnamed. And the fact that there's one spot, it's going to blow up, mainstream as far as is it Kenny or not. But I mean, I don't want to know the entire Royal Rumble lineup before it happens.
Yeah,
Mind Freak, what were you about to say, bud?
No, it's not much. All right. Next topic.
Speak your piece, sir.
I'm just joking, bro.
No, it's what I remember about watching Royal Rumble, and kind of piggyback off a little bit of what you said. It's the fact that it's that wow factor. It's like who's going to show up? Is like going to be like what? Like really? Like that for me that was one of the best things about growing up with the Royal Rumble. We're like, what? That just happened, kind of thing,
Yeah, my 2 cents on the Royal Rumble is like this, man. When they first started doing the Royal Rumble, the big thing about it is they had the little spin in with the ping pong balls. You pull the number out and you figure out who it was, stuff like that. Where it got good is when you're watching the show and all of a sudden number 16 comes out and it's like, holy crap, I haven't seen freaking this guy in so many years. Like the Godfather pops out of nowhere, and then it's just these random people coming out of nowhere. That's what I hope they do. They didn't do that the last couple of years. You're right. They had maybe like 4 or 5 people they didn't announce, and then we had to try to figure it out. Best one, I think, was about 4 or 5 years ago where we hardly knew. I mean, we knew some of the roster. We knew the ones that came out and said, oh, John Cena's going to do it, Randy Orton, blah, blah, blah. But there was probably a good 10 people we did not know were going to show up. Like Rey Mysterio came back on one of those. And the minute that music pops, there's music that have holy crap, it's just amazing to see, not only hear, but see the looks on people's faces while they're in the audience. So, So we're gonna quit talking Royal Rumble because we're just totally like blowing our show that we need to hold off for. So, kudos to WWE for breaking out a couple more things for us this week. More wrestling. This is going to be an awesome year for wrestling as a whole because the rest of the show that we're going to be talking about is the big news that they finally announced. They did the public announcement this week. We talked about this gentleman about 3 or 4 podcasts ago, Cody Rhodes, and the impact he had with Ring of Honor and the ability to bring the smaller organizations, and I don't want to say smaller as far as not quality, just not WWE, so Ring of Honor, New Japan, stuff like that, the ones that aren't totally mainstream USA. And they were able to unify all these guys, have NWA championships, all this stuff. And then, sure enough, AEW is official. Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are the vice presidents of the AEW. Brandy Rhodes is the branding officer, backed up by, I believe his last name is Turka, his son of the guy who owns the What's that?
Tony Khan. Tony Khan.
Thank you. Sorry, Tony Khan. Son of the guy who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, comes in with $100 million.
just so we're clear, Tony Khan actually is a co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars also.
And one of the FC Premier League teams and the Florida Panthers hockey team.
So they've got some cash, and they're going to take $100 million of it and start up AEW.
Not do they just have cash? They have more cash than Vinnie Mac. Just saying. Just
It's
it
up
out
there.
I mean, no, it's more. He has more money than Vinnie Mac. I know he's not going to blow his load and give away the farm to start this up, but these guys are smart. Not just the Khans, but Cody, Matt, Nick. They are smart businessmen. There's a reason why they were able to sell out 11,000 seats for All In 6 months ahead of time before a single match was named. There's a reason why they've had the following increase for the last 4 months for a countdown of nobody knowing what happened. And of course, towards the end of it became the world's worst secret because everyone knew what was happening. But what these guys are about to do is nothing less than extraordinary. They are literally we talk about indies, we talk about small organizations because Ring of Honor, New Japan, those are not indies. They are established organizations. They're no different than Impact except for better product. So what they're going to, this is going to be this big, not only for them, but for wrestling. Like we are going to get wrestling content of Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact, but at some point we're going to get it at a much higher scale, almost NXT level. Like production, I can see us getting production level of NXT. I am ecstatic about this.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like I was reading up on it this morning, this afternoon as well, just really trying to get into this and see what it is. Some of the cool stuff that I noticed about right off the bat, and when I watched the press, the press that they had in front where they were announcing everything, and Brandy Rhodes came up and talked. One of the things I liked about what they're talking about is that everyone's going to be paid equally. That no one's going to get more money than the other. They said it's going to be all equal. I'm sure somewhere down the line, in order to attract some of the bigger names, if they want to, they can go that route. But starting off, they said everyone's getting paid equally. Men, women, doesn't matter. One of the first signees was the Doctor and female wrestler, which is awesome because they said they want to bring female wrestling into it right off the bat, top of the line. Not the valet club that some wrestling organizations still hold out with and stuff. So I really like the idea of where they're coming from. They're really trying to make this fan base. They're really trying to cater to the fans' needs because obviously, like how Brandy said it, if everyone's getting paid equal and you have happy wrestlers, that means you have happy fans. And they've also signed a litany of talent, too. I know you've got the full roster there, but some of the guys I want to throw out there just to start off with for us people like myself who are still getting out to the other outside world stuff. But things I did notice is obviously Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. They're obviously signed. They're also, like we talked about, the vice presidents.
EVPs.
Yep. They picked up Chris Jericho, obviously huge name. One that I actually thought was really cool to see was that they picked up Pac, a.k.a. Neville. Neville is a great wrestler. He had a lot of great matches in WWE. It was behind-the-scenes stuff that eventually ended his WWE reign. So it's good to see that they're picking up on it.
And we're going to go back to Jericho because there's – obviously that's a big catalyst that we need to discuss. But the signing of Pac is big for the reason of – everybody was actually anticipating him being at All In for the fact that he was they let him out of his contract. They let him release from his contract from WWE the weekend before, and everybody thought that we were going to get Pac to show up, whether surprise or not, at All In, and we didn't get that. So the fact that they brought him in to this now, it's big because Neville was Neville was a talent that could have been a major superstar, but was severely underused. Mm-hmm. when we look back at his last year and a half, his biggest storyline was with an actor. Given it was Stephen Amell, but it was an actor. And it wasn't, the whole Enzo Amore, and that just ruined it all for him. And the fact that he's now in AEW, that's phenomenal, man.
Absolutely, my freak. What do you got there, buddy?
Same thing. Like we big household names, like other names that have been part of WWE. Not like with Cody and stuff like that. But with how much Cody and the Bucks have done outside of it for that brand and build it up to what it is, to be able to get great talent like Pac, like Jericho, it's just astounding to know that, especially with somebody like Jericho, how long he's been with the WWE. There's lots of countless stuff he's done with WWE, to go over to this organization, a brand new one that they've been building up. It just goes to show a lot of what AEW is going to do, and I'm excited too.
And this also, with what you just said, also goes with something that we talked about a couple casts ago. It wasn't like Chris Jericho just went and signed with them. Chris Jericho actually consulted Vince McMahon on the whole situation, let him know what he wanted to do. The cool thing about that is, obviously, Vince gave the blessing. We said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that the idea that Vince McMahon letting Jericho do that, I mean, Jericho didn't have to go to Vince McMahon, but he went to Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon gave him the, hey, do your thing. That shows maturity with Vince McMahon, and understands that he understands where wrestling is now. Everyone knows that WWE is the top of the food chain. That's where it is. They've earned their spot. But they also realize that if they continue going that way with no competition, there's really not going to be much more wrestling. So the idea that Cody Rhodes has been able to do what he's done and now created AEW, which they want to compete with WWE. They're not going out there and blatantly say we're going to dominate them or everything like that. They're playing it smart. We just want to be your next choice. Not these other fakers or these other guys who tried to beat WWE. We're just going to be your next choice, and then let it grow from there.
Yeah, and they're going along what's really the great thing about it is when you listen to Cody or Matt or Nick talk about it, you listen to Brandy talk about it. These aren't guys who are coming out because they want to make money. Given, of course they do, but you can tell. And I've met both, all of them over the last year, a couple different times. And they're all genuinely great people. Like the way they just talk about, they're not even talking wrestling. They're just talking like as if they've known you forever. And their meet and greets are fantastic. But their passion for the business and for giving, here's the thing. The McMahons came out about 3 weeks ago and said they are going to give the fans what they want. They are going to give more of what we want and less of what they want to do, or what the writers have been doing, or however they wanted to word it or not. Why do they do that? I'll tell you why. Because AEW's out here, and they know it was coming. They're not dumb. Vince is a smart man. I guarantee you he already knew what was going on. But then you listen to these guys talk, and they're talking about, better pay, better performances, healthcare, giving fans what they want, not giving not giving worthless storylines or things that aren't going to be continuous, making to wins and losses matter again. Not just throwing somebody out there and shoving them down our throats, but to make them earn their spot. They've already talked about how they're not making to where you pick the face or you pick the heel and who's going to pick and who you're going to be going for. They're telling you, watch, enjoy, and choose for yourself. We are going to give you a product that you can enjoy and just get away and basically escape from what's out there. What's awesome about this is that Brandy was talking about afterwards that, they're still going to allow all these guys, for the most part, to still do other things. So just because they're signing that contract with AEW, given probably Cody and the Bucks and stuff like that, who have these ironclad contracts, are probably going to be pretty, tied in and loyal to the brand. But Joey Janela, who's a big name out there, and he's coming over. They're still going to allow him to do his stuff outside of the AEW. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, who's one of the biggest heels out there, they're going to allow him to do his own thing. Chris Jericho, Cody said he's still going to allow him. He's still going to be able to do his thing. He's going to be able to do his cruise, whatever it may be. SCU. If you don't know what SCU is, you need to. Christopher Daniels has been around for so long and such a great talent. Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky are two guys who have been around for a few years who, man, they're just on the rise. What's great about them, and it's great for us because they are Southern California guys, SCU. That's why they're SCU. But so are the Bucks. And Matt, I can't remember if it was Matt or Nick. One of them came out in an interview and said that their dream is to do a big show in their hometown. Their hometown's Rancho Cucamonga. He said, and he goes on and say, given that Rancho Cucamonga does not have an arena that can fit what we want to do, but Ontario does. That's right in our backyard. Not only that, we have LA, we have Anaheim, we have San Diego. This is going to benefit us. I mean, given it's a little selfish because there's a lot of wrestling fans out there, but for us, it's going to be fantastic. The South, the Midwest, the West Coast, we are going to get power thrown in with more wrestling than ever before, and it's going to be amazing. The fact that they have Chris Jericho, and you mentioned it, he didn't have to go to Vince, but he did. And that was big when we went to New Japan. The guy's been on fire for the last 15 months, had his cruise. But to have Chris Jericho sign, Chris Jericho gives validity to this organization. Now they can go get TV deals. They can go get networks to air their pay-per-views. There was reports that HBO was at the rally the other day doing a behind-the-scenes video montage, essentially to air like a behind-the-scenes all access on HBO. So there's talks that they can even be in the running to produce and show some shows on their network. I tell you right now, I already got an HBO subscription. So I guarantee other people out there will get an HBO subscription if it's going to give them wrestling from All Elite Wrestling. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting news to hear because of the fact that, once again, I think some of the best wrestling that was produced was a Monday Night Wars when WWE was fighting WCW for supremacy. And it was because at the time, both organizations were producing high quality, like everyone was in for it. I mean, that was it. Like the thing you noticed about those matches and those shows when you watched it is that every wrestler bought in because they all felt that, hey, this is it. This is what's going to make things happen. We want to win. We want to be on the winning side. And it all came down to one mess up with the announcement with WCW announcing who's going to win a championship one night that turned the tables. And that's what I'm excited to see with this AEW. I admit that even though this has been talked about and we were talking in the pre-show that there's been a countdown for this, I didn't know much about it. I just knew about the fact that Cody Rhodes has been out there killing it, and I've spoke highly about it before with him and the Young Bucks about how they're really bringing the independents together and really trying to bring something to wrestling to kind of elevate it to another level. To actually have AEW come around and the way they're trying to, the way that they're going to be doing it, and the way that you just mentioned that they're going to still kind of keep what's been working for them in the last 4 or 5 months, where they're going to have those, I don't want to call them open contracts, but they allow them to go wrestle at their other organizations. That's huge for them because that'll really help them step up and like what they want to do, compete with WWE. It's going to be an awesome time.
And the biggest thing that that I'm excited for, it's the fact that it's just going to be just strictly pure entertainment. Entertainment that's always fun to watch, like amazing spots, amazing matches, and it's like Marty said, we're going to put these on, you decide, kind of thing, and as a fan, to have another more wrestling to even watch and have it done this way with big names like this, I said it earlier, dude, it's exciting. And like you say, almost every week or something like that, what a great time it is right now for wrestling. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
With all the stuff that's going on.
And to go with that, obviously they made an announcement. There's going to be 2 big events this year. We're going to get this follow-up to All In, which is going to be Double or Nothing, and that's here in Vegas. It's going to be in Vegas, Memorial Day weekend, which is going to be another big show with another show coming after that, which it's looking like it's going to be in Jacksonville. I think they even announced it's going to be in Jacksonville. And that one could easily end up being All In too, because that's going to be towards the end of the summer. So that can absolutely be All In too. But we talk about this being, we're going to see more names and more things come up as far as who's coming over. But there are some big free agents right now. Not even those from WWE, but Kenny Omega is going to be the biggest free agent in years within the next couple of weeks. Is he going WWE? Is he going AEW? Is he going somewhere else? I'm pretty sure he's going to be one of those two. Cody came out a couple weeks ago and said, retracting his original statement, and says, you know what, maybe not the entire elite isn't all going to go down the same path right away, but we're all elite still. Kind of throwing it up there where it's kind of going to go. Marty Scurll, he's in contract till April. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, so I hope that once he gets done his contract, he's there. I don't see why he's not going to be there. And there's another tick. If you haven't watched Being the Elite, this last episode from this week, there's another ticker at the end of it. The big focuses of this episode was essentially Marty Scurll and Kenny Omega, New Year's Day, what's going on, and then a ticker. So it's like, is that a countdown for Kenny? Is it a countdown for Marty? Either way, if they get both of these guys, and then the day after Kenny, which is the day after Wrestle Kingdom 13, which was an amazing event. We haven't even talked about that yet. If you haven't watched Wrestle Kingdom 13, try to find a way to watch it. But Kenny announced that he's leaving New Japan. It's already been announced. Day after that, after New Year's Dash, Kushida, one of the biggest names in Japanese wrestling, announced he is also leaving New Japan Wrestling. Where he's going, no say, there's no names, nothing out that further, but they could easily be bringing Kushida over. If they in the next, we can end up having Kushida, Kenny Omega, and Marty Scurll coming into this roster, which is going to amplify the names on here. The fact that they're going to give the guys the opportunity to do other things outside AEW, get a paycheck, make sure they're taken care of physically, and bring them into this beginning of this startup company. I guarantee you we are going to see some big names pop up out of nowhere that nobody even expected, and that is going to be amazing.
That's something I'm starting to see too that I think is going to be fun for wrestling as a whole. Where do these people go? Like, I know today WWE signed one female wrestler. I can't think of her name. She was with the Ring of Honor though, or Impact, I think, and she just signed over today. I wish I had the name. Another one that came up, Piper. From Piper Venom or Viper, excuse me, from overseas. She was in the Mae Young Classic, had a really good outing in there. She announced that after her contract finishes up, she's going to be signing with WWE. So it's going to be interesting to see how these signings start falling through. Where do they go? Like, do you go with WWE? Do you continue to go with the tried and true and try to be the small fish in the big pond kind of thing? Or do you jump with AEW and say, hey, man, let's get it right at the beginning of this and see what happens? It's going to be quite exciting. I guarantee this next year we're going to be talking about a lot of like, holy crap, I can't believe that person's now wherever they're at. And that's exciting too. Once again, this is starting to become one of those exciting times for being a wrestling fan, because you're seeing more quality shows, you're seeing more quality events, and now you're getting another quality program starting up with a well-known family taking care of it. I mean, Cody Rhodes is doing a phenomenal job, and he's carrying on his father's legacy just the way that we hoped he would. So
I can say I guarantee by the end of this year, we will see only between 5 and 10 names from the WWE, whether currently on the roster or just coming off the roster, that will be a part of AEW. And I'm going as far as say we'll see Goldust there. I'm hoping. I don't know if he's going to do it just because he's been taken care of for so long, and now his girlfriend's a part of the WWE brand. But I really hope that if something doesn't happen for him, that Zack Ryder shows up in AEW. He's really good friends with Cody Rhodes. They're always posting together, always doing things. I think that you give Zack Ryder the opportunity to show up in AEW, they're going to take care of him, and they're going to let him shine rather than, Zack Ryder was backstage or he came out to help break up a fight for the first time on Raw in 9 months. Zack Ryder is too good of a talent to just be wasting on main event.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee he's getting money for it and great money for it, but to be happy, sometimes you might want to take a little bit of a pay cut to be happy doing what you do. And that's my thought.
Yeah.
But it's going to be exciting to see what happens over the next 6 to 12 months.
Absolutely. I agree. It's like I said, exciting times. I don't know what else to say. This is going to be a fun ride this year, and I think it's going to do exactly what wrestling needs. Get people like myself to branch out and see these other organizations and follow some of these wrestlers that you've seen at WWE or whatever show you've watched the majority of the time and see them performing. I think that's one of the things that I really do appreciate about the NXT brand is that it's given me the ability to see someone on a consistent basis like a Samoa Joe, like an Adam Cole. Now we have Matt Riddle. Now we have Keith Lee. We're seeing all these big name wrestlers that are not WWE branded coming in, and I get to see these guys and they're performing and saying, hey, I need to start looking a little bit more outside the box and see these guys before even them.
Yeah, and to go with that, I mean, not only are we going to get this great wrestling from around the world and at more higher levels, we are going to see WWE give us a better product.
Yep.
Because if they don't, they're going to become the blockbuster and they're going to go away. Given it's going to take some time for that to happen, but if they're not giving fans the content that we want to see, and AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and even Impact's been on a rise lately. And the fact, given they're going to some crappy ass network again, but these organizations are starting to really provide the fans with content that we want to watch, content we want to see. If the WWE doesn't step up, they are going to lose their fan base, and they're going to lose it quickly. So I think that's going to make WWE give us a much better content. AEW doesn't even need to go head-to-head Monday nights or Friday nights or whatever night the WWE goes. They can they can go up on a Saturday, on a Wednesday night, given NXT. But if they go Wednesday night, not even a night that our main broadcast of WWE's going on, that's still going to force WWE to play their card and give us a quality content. And we talked about the AEW and how they want an established women's roster also. Where have we been talking about the hottest females in wrestling? I'm talking about talent-wise for the last 2 to 3 years. We have seen them not only in WWE, but the Mae Young Classic. Yeah. I guarantee that we are going to see a lot of names familiar to the Mae Young Classic join up in the AEW because they know what they can do. Britt Baker, she's a name there too, So if they want established wrestlers, we are going to see some call. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fan. She's my favorite out there. I really hope they get names like Santana Garrett. They could easily steal Tessa Blanchard. I know she's got a contract with Impact now, but she was the winner of the lone female match at All In. I mean, she's a legacy. Cody's a legacy. They had that connection. It's very easy for them to try to bring Tessa over. And you're bringing Tessa over, you have a valid women's roster.
I agree. Absolutely. Yep. It's you said it all, man. I don't know where else to go, man. This is just a lot of good stuff that's happening right now for wrestling as a whole. It is exciting times. Like I keep saying this all the time. I really do mean it, though. It is exciting times. We are going to see another we're going to see another, not a Monday Night War, but we're going to see another jump or another evolution in wrestling, because it has been stale since the 90s, and we've had some influxes, and it's gotten better with the insertion of like NXT and everything. But now this is going to be the one time where you're just going to see it everywhere, and wrestling isn't going to be that thing that, the guys in the Midwest and the country or nerds watch. Everyone's now going to be going mainstream again with this wrestling stuff, and the way they're able to get themselves out there in public life and to participate and help. That's the other thing they're really bringing to the table as well.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about AEW and Elite and New Japan, Ring of Honor, Bucks. Given some of that content, unless you're really a fan and a diehard wrestling fan at that, you're really not going to know a lot of these names. And that's where it goes back to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho signing with AEW, that is getting mainstream attention. CBS, NBC, Sports, or ESPN, all these big companies are talking about Chris Jericho signing with this company called AEW. The fact that they're getting attention just because Jericho is signing, that's already a great sign for the company. The fact that they just signed one name and everybody's flocking in to look at what's going on here. Because if Chris Jericho is on board, it's got something behind it. And that's a stamp of approval right there.
Absolutely. I think that's the best way we could end it off for today. That was great way to finish it off. This has been a great cast. It's awesome to get in there weekend with us and everything. I look forward to next week, especially as we're getting closer to the Royal Rumble and as more news comes out with AEW and everything. That, like I said, these are going to be conversations we could have. So when you're watching this show on whatever platform it is, YouTube, Twitch, iTunes, whatever, Stitcher, everything, whatever it is, please put comments in there. Let us know what you guys think. Tell us what you think is going to be the biggest impacts happening this year and stuff. Make sure you check us out at Malice Corp. That's our parent host site. They're the guys that allow us to do this podcast on a weekly basis. You'll see all of our old casts. You can also link in and see how you can get to our current cast and everything. But yeah, this is great stuff, guys. We really appreciate your input and feedback, and we look forward to next week doing this. My Freak, where can we follow you next week? Or maybe this week, because I don't know if we'll keep you for next week. We'll see. Your contract might be coming up soon, buddy.
No. I'll sign with AEW. No, you go.
They need some more valets.
Hey, chance to work with AEW as a valet, I'll take it. Shit. You can follow me right here on Twitch, even though we're not live. But you can follow me at Twitch at twitch.tv/BTBMindFreak. Bringing you guys some high quality Destiny gaming action, all kinds of different stuff there. Also follow me on Twitter at MindFreakMLG. It's up in the corner over my shoulder. And at Instagram at @just_MindFreak.
How about you, sir? Bearded Master?
It doesn't matter where MRD gets followed from. I had to throw that in there. I don't know why.
You know what? I'm just going to throw this out here because this is just one of those examples. You just followed up what he did at the beginning of the show, man. I'm just saying.
Yep.
I mean,
six advisors.
There's going Saxton, and then there's going full Saxton. And you never go full Saxton. Come on, man. It's about time you learn that. Just calm down there, bro. You can find me Instagram, Twitter at @abeardedmaster, as well as on Twitter at boot to the face. Boot the number 2 the face. Always talking wrestling. Always ready to converse about whatever. Hit us up with AEW. Hashtag us Malice Smack Talk. Let us know what your thoughts are on the show. Anything that you've heard us talk about, anything you see us tweet about, join in to interact with us. We want all 3 of us are always on our profile, always seeing what's going on, whether we're being tagged or whatever it is. But we all enjoy talking wrestling more than the hour to hour and a half we do here on the show. Just give us more content, and we'll give you more content.
Absolutely. You can always, you can follow me at Masonic Vader 71 on PlayStation. But like I always like to mention, follow Malice Smack Talk. This has been a great ride. We're having so much fun. And I'm looking forward to this year because I think there's going to be a lot more going on. You're going to see us probably on a weekly basis just talking nothing but great wrestling news, man. And I'm excited for this year.
So,
yeah.
I mean, well, last little tidbit, because I do have one more to get in. I mean, Marty, talk about me going full Saxon or whatever. It's okay. Marty, almost any time Mandy Rose gets brought up, goes full Graves over there. I mean, I don't know which is worse, just saying.
Full Saxon is worse because full Graves means we're just checking out freaking a goddess, for God's sake, man. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
saying.
I don't know if you guys ever checked.
Here's we got Graves, and if you're talking about Graves, that means he's either talking about Mandy Rose or Alexa Bliss. If you talk about Saxton, you're talking about freaking pancakes and the New Day.
hey, don't knock the power of positivity, son.
All I know is that lately Instagram has been blowing up with a lot of interesting Mandy stacks. That's all I gotta say there. All right, it's amazing.
That is true.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, well, thank you so much for watching the show. We appreciate your comments. We likes. Please follow us, share us, tell everyone about us. We really appreciate all the Twitter follows and everything. Keep doing your thing, and of course, like how we always like to end the show. Give us that 1, 2, 3.
It's stuck.
I think it.
That's what she said.
I think our bell officially is dead.
That's a great way to end the show.
We're back in.